Have you ever thought of making a mobile app that would make this world a better place? Well, before you do that, here's a warning for you. You will have to bend a few rules to earn your place in the market. I'm going to tell you how the rules of the game are already so unfair for budding developers, what these rules are, and a few things that you should look out for when starting your own little venture. Towards the end of this video, you will have a good understanding on which road you will be taking, the road of ethics or the road of immoral cleverness. Have you ever seen how Facebook Messenger bubble just pops up to tell you that a new message has arrived? Or maybe how even when your device screen is turned off, a WhatsApp call lights up your device on its own? Or how a Truecaller pop-up comes at the top of all the screens of your device to let you know the details of the caller? All of these are just amazing features. Maybe you wanted to build an app just like that. An app to show a pop-up over other apps to help the users. Only after doing some research, you realize that you just cannot build an app like that. Or at least not nearly as successfully as Messenger, WhatsApp or Truecaller for that matter. This is because your app will need a dangerous permission to be granted by the users, named drawing over other apps in this case. So if you want to provide such a feature in your app, the user would have to go to the settings, find your app, and then grant the permission to your app, and then come back to your app again to use it. Now what are the chances of that happening? A user generally hesitates to even allow permissions that show on a dialog, like location and storage permissions. Going to the system settings to grant such a dangerous permission would only make the users run away from your app. Clearly, the number of people who would do this to use your app would be very few. But have you ever seen WhatsApp or Truecaller asking for such permissions? I don't think so. And why not? Well, because these permissions are automatically granted by Google to these apps. So in the case of big players, neither is user taken to the settings, nor is the user shown a dialog. A user has unknowingly granted system permissions for these big apps by default. Whereas in the case of small applications, a user would have to go the other way around. So now, if you follow the rules, you have to accept that some special privileges are given to the big players by Google already. And now you just have to make the best out of what's been given to you. So you decide to play by the rules by forcing your users to grant special permissions for the pop-up app that you wanted to make. All the while knowing that the number of users who would actually give this permission would only be a few of your app's users. But while you are in the process of developing this forced permission feature in your app, you also notice some other interesting apps. Apps which are not big, apps that are not given the overdraw permission automatically like the big players, but still they somehow manage to show these pop-ups to their users without much hassle. You begin to wonder, how are they doing it? After doing some more research, you come to know that they are making use of some loopholes in the Android system to show these pop-ups. What they do is that they schedule daily notifications using something called Alarm Manager that triggers your device around the same time every day. When this alarm time is triggered inside the app starts a background service that does some computation and then launches a screen of their application. Screens just like the ones from WhatsApp call, Truecaller pop-up or Facebook chat bubble. Long story short, you become aware of a hack to grow your app. To grant your app a feature that is not a part of the rules, but also not illegal according to the rules. There are two ways that you can go after you have this knowledge. You can continue to follow the rules and fall way behind the big players as well as the competition that is chasing them through hacks and the loopholes in the system. Or you become the part of the competition that is chasing the big players as well. If you choose to play by the rules and play safe, you won't ever catch up to the competition. For every step that you will take, the competition will take hundreds of steps further and the gap will keep on increasing till the time you realize that it is just not the game of those who play by the rules. This overdraw permission concern was just an example. There are really many examples that prove this point further. Let's take one more example. This is Trell. Trell is a content sharing mobile app that has many social networking features. Let's say you downloaded this app from the Play Store today, but uninstalled it later the very same day. The day ends and you have a good sleep in the night. You wake up the next day, and to your surprise, the Trail app is back on your phone, all well and installed. You begin to wonder if you actually uninstalled it yesterday, or maybe you did not. Either way, you decide to uninstall it again. The day ends, and you have an okay sleep this time. You wake up the next day, and to your surprise, the Trail app is back on your phone again. I won't go in detail as to how this app does it, but I'm just pointing out that it does it. Ignoring the user perspective, the app, just because of sustained downloads, is very good in terms of numbers. So again, unfair rules, unfair game. And I said ignoring the user perspective. That is precisely what many strange yet successful apps do. For every negative review that a user posts on the Play Store, the company manages to get about 5 times as much positive fake reviews, so that the overall rating of the app looks good and the app remains at the top in terms of store ranking. An ethical person would try to keep away from the hacks and would try to build a product out of honest reviews and build a collaborative community around its product. But when you are chasing the numbers, all the lines between the ethics and immorality begin to blur. A person begins to question their next move. Would this be right, or at least not wrong? But you could argue, why would I be chasing the numbers? I will create the product slowly and steadily, just like the tortoise in the race. Well, my friend, an average product company has front-end developers, back-end developers, designers, product managers, engineering managers, a marketing team, a sales team, an HR team, and many more people just for backup. What are the chances of you playing the lone wolf and winning the race at the same time? Close to none, one would say. So what would you do to scale your product? You will seek funding from an investor to get these many people. What will an investor need from you to give you funding? The numbers of your product. What will you do once you have the funding? You will work on getting the numbers for the funds that you have received. And what will you do when you have achieved those numbers? You will try getting the next round of the funding to keep on scaling forward. And what will you do when you have done that? You do the same for the next round and the next one, and you get the idea. Numbers. It all comes down to numbers. And you are always chasing them from one milestone to another. It is all complicated and at the same time connected. Now that you are aware of all the possibilities, would you accept the unfair lack of privileges available to you as a budding developer and play by the rules? Or would you not hesitate in trying to bend the rules a little? It seems like the rules are already broken, and that this is clearly just a choice, and it is yours to take. Either way, I wish you good luck.